I always love to start with first, I love to have a 90-second pitch. Who are you? What's your company's name? And what do you do?
I'm Alex Shchekin. I am a founder of Careverse or Access PBC. Our idea is to make sure that we create one unified place where people have to access care, any kind of care, anywhere in the world, no friction, lots of knowledge, everything consumer and provider friendly to make sure that there's your thought, your problem, and it gets resolved all one place globally, internationally, any language, any culture, any preference.
Awesome. Well, for our listeners who haven't seen your campaign or don't know anything, how do you kind of talk them through what we're talking about right now? What does that mean? It's all like big statements, but what does it mean in practical terms?
In practical terms, is that we are all patients or we are all the clients of some care providers, whether it begins with barber shops or whether it goes to dog groomers or primary care or secondary care or nursing or hospitals or whatever. So every time there's an interaction, there's appointment booking, there's a scheduling, there's insurance verification, there's cost out of pocket, there's for, you know, prescription drugs, there's a follow-up appointments, there are referrals, I think I already talked to you about in recent 10 seconds, I told you about 20 different tabs open on your browser and multiple phone calls. And it also distractive and it takes time of your day and you really never know. Whenever you buy insurance, you don't know who's taking it, what providers are there, what the costs will be, whether it covers certain drugs and whatnot. So we took it all, put it all in one place and made it accessible 24 hours a day, agentic fashion, very, very convenient, works beautifully, fills up the forms, maintains your privacy, maintains your PHI, PII, and all the other records. And the idea is to make sure that if you need care, doesn't matter what your circumstances are, it always shows you where it is.
Okay.
Make
Okay.
you gives it to you, gives you access to it.
Gotcha. So are we talking about an app? Is this a website sort of
It's a combination of
database?
yeah, it's a web-based in the app, obviously, and yes, it'll be in your pocket. It works just like a phone button, like Siri, right? And you click the button and say, "Hey, Careverse, I need to find a nearest barber who's available right now," and Careverse just goes to work. Same thing is that I have an appointment with my care provider tomorrow, but I can't make it. The meeting came up, or please tell me when is the follow-up, or Careverse will tell you, "Hey, Jeff, last year at this time you had your physical. It's about time," because an average for the age group and your type of people category, boom. Or it will tell you that there is a vaccination ready if you are into that, and it'll let you know where the nearest place and what's available and what it will take to get it done. Anything on the subject of care, all in one place. You think you got a medical bill, you don't know what's that for? You submit it to Careverse, it'll go to work for you. It'll challenge it with the providers, with insurance. We'll do it academically, professionally, all in one place.
Wow. So that's a lot of entry points. So how do you sort of what's the starting point of getting this thing built, getting this off the ground, and then obviously testing it? And it seems like you've got a bunch of different entry doors with all the different types of providers that you're talking about. So what was kind of the starting point of all this?
Well, we were all patients, right? We're all clients. The team is technical and business oriented. And the idea was, how do we do it so that we don't get people more confused than they really are right now? I'm not going to name big names, but there's nothing in the world that exists right now that orchestrates care and has it in a unified fashion available. I mean, there are certain platforms that if providers pay them to be seen, but there's nothing that if you don't pay, then you don't play for those platforms. The idea was to create a tool or set of tools that where users would not feel any confusion. It's a simple, it works like ChatGPT. It's just an agent. You go in, you talk to it, or you type into it, or you upload something into it. And for us, the way we build it, it reaches out to what's available informationally online. And if it's not available, it goes on to calling, faxing, it goes on to texting, it goes on to receiving responses or not receiving, and then assembling responses back from care providers for availability or other actions, and then presents that to you in the simplest of the form. let's say, okay, I couldn't find anybody available nearby, or I found this guy, he'll take you $40. Have a nice day. So,
Wow,
or when
wow,
you go about the medical service or drugs, for example, I've seen me personally. I was at my doctor's office. He wanted to prescribe me something, and he was Googling to see if those two things can be taken together. So,
right,
and even he is the user of this platform because he's going to get tools from us absolutely free, and he's going to be able to sit there and say, okay, well, here's Alex, and I'm prescribing certain things to him, and there's going to be a little red flag saying, hey, be careful because that might not be a very good combination. So yes, this I tell you another thing is we've been working on a service. So not
wow,
because we went up and down. No, it was design, orchestration, this idea, that idea. We threw away a bunch of ideas and finally came to the point where we just give everybody their own agent. That's going to be their care assistant, if you'd like. And we'll learn from you. We'll learn who you are discreetly. We'll learn from you endlessly for as long as you utilize the tool. And I do not know anyone in the world. It doesn't matter. You live in Canada where there's single payer, or you live in underdeveloped countries where there's chaos, or you live in the United States where there's a private market. I don't know any person who has not been ever challenged with things like
sure,
that.
sure. So you're playing in the healthcare space. It's heavily regulated. How do you handle HIPAA and privacy and compliance and liability and all that?
Well, thankfully, those things have aged. The PHI, PII, HIPAA compliance, all those things aged. They have been out there for a while. So there's enormous amount of professionals. There's enormous amount of technology right now that allows you to encrypt, decrypt, synthesize, de-identify, read it, store it in different places. So yeah, we will be addressing privacy, multiple logins, double authentications and certain things. And so we will be making sure that if you trust us with some personal information beyond what you drop into search engines right now, or beyond of what you watch the videos about on the streaming platforms and whatnot, this is actually, when you watch the video, Google something or search for something or go to Bing, these are PHI, PII questions as well. But because
Hmm.
we're
Hmm.
acting on your behalf, so we will have the platform enablement, which will act as an encrypted agent that will do this. Every time the session ends, everything gets locked, secure, destroyed.
But one of the things I
Destroyed.
saw on your page that I
Go
thought
ahead.
was interesting was you used a term called algorithmic suppression. I think I saw on your page. Can you unpack that a little bit and what you mean by that when it comes to providers right now?
Well, if you go to provider, so what it means is that if we are talking about your symptoms right now, so there's many meanings of that. There's an algorithmic suppression that comes from the system itself designed to algorithmically suppress you as a care provider. For example, there's three answers real quick. So one, when provider submits the claim, usually ends up in the patient's lap. What happens is the provider has to prove that the claim originated by the patient. Otherwise, it gets thrown away and you have to challenge. So there's those things. So if that kind of, to be honest with you, I don't remember in what context that statement was there, but the other algorithmic suppression, if you're talking about Careverse, the way we do it is that if provider interacts with you, so we make sure that the previous statement that you did, we kill and we hide, and then we continue the conversation understanding the logic, but algorithms keep on removing this. So if anybody gets in on a conversation, they will never have the whole thing.
Yeah. Interesting. How do you see Careverse working when it comes to like provider burnout or administration burnout or the burdens around all the administration? How do you see your tool fitting into this world?
This tool is designed for providers with a public interface. Each provider is our client. So because the providers do go to doctors, they do have their personal care, this, that. So idea is forms, for example. Every time they see a patient, there are forms, treatment forms, drug forms, disclosure form, all of it is done. We did that all for them. Prior authorization, all of the Careverse is fully integrated to anybody. It's done all in one place. Phone calls, you off, your phone is ringing, Careverse takes all your phone calls. Text messages, reminders, Careverse does all that. Claims, supporting documentation for claims. If you need to show the origination of the conversation, it's all done for you. So prescriptions, RX integrated. Go into the aggregation of medical records, done. We go to third parties, the big names, and we get them our patient IDs on behalf of the provider. They push the records to us. The 95% of the referrals right now are fax. So we do fax, but besides the fax, we already solved the problem with provider to provider communication with authorization forms and whatever. So there's a lot of workflow. That's why I told you it took a little time. It took years to do it. And again, gratefully and thankfully, there's an abundance of technology right now that there's a bunch of apps, 700 apps in healthcare, and nothing unifies them. So our idea is just if somebody is doing very well with analyzing of your X-rays, okay, that'll be plugged into Careverse. If somebody is doing very well with Quest Diagnostics or something like that, we plug them in. So if somebody, we have a company on a contract right now, they're delivering explanation of benefits like your insurance statements. Okay, well done. So it's there. This is the same company that actually goes out and finds your medical records. What would be, it would be amazing if somebody like me, I would have my 20 year, 30 years worth of my medical history in one place,
Sure.
By law, I can. By physically to get it done, how many requests, nobody knows where I went. So we are solving that. We're solving that. Would that be on the first day? No, parts of it already done. But is we going to get more adoption is going to get involved. The travel use cases, same thing. You're in Bali or you're in Belize or in Mexico. You need a provider. There's a lot, there's an enormous amount of travel, medical tourism, right? People go to do dentistry over across the border because doctors are great, costs are different, right? Not that we are promoting it, but availability will be on Careverse. And obviously local providers will the biggest obvious thing we're solving that no one who provides care will ever have to worry about publishing on the web, because we will do that automatically. Your agent as a care provider will build your website, will make sure it's facing the world, it will make it search engine and social media optimized, and everybody in the world will be able to go to that website and text you, talk to your AI agent, interact with you, email you, fill out the forms, authorizations, follow-ups, and everything like that. Custom, no. Standard, yes, but very advanced. Super cool.
That's amazing. Very cool. How do you address competition, or how do you think about it in the company? Is competition Claude or Claude Code or OpenClaw, ChatGPT, or is it the 700 apps that you just mentioned? Is some version of that? How do you think of competition?
What do you would call a competition to iOS on your phone? Windows? I mean, we are building an operating system and orchestration layer, right? Apps that I mentioned, they're all great about something very particular. So for example, we have a partner coming into us who has built for pathology and anatomy billing code management system, right? He cannot exist as a standalone thing. It's just, it doesn't have a place to put it, to track. So we plug him in. So if you're one of those specialists, boom, you got that. If we're not, we will not be storing a lot of information and doing training on a model, just like Grok and GPT, but we're walking away from the conversational. We believe, what I personally believe, I don't know if everybody on the team is the same way, but almost there. But I believe that there's no shortage of AI out there, no shortage of Geminis or Groks. The guys are creating great stuff, like amazing stuff. The problem is that stuff doesn't do nothing. You could talk to it. It's emotional. There are all of those transformers. They go and reason and do the logic. They lose they start hallucinating. They do all these gaps between the systems. We were not allowed to do this. Why? Because we're focused on a very particular thing. Alex needs to be seen by Dr. Jeff, and there's a workflow in between. There's a step to the left, to the right, and our job would be to enhance that experience. Whether Dr. Jeff is in China and he doesn't speak English, whether Dr. Jeff is next door to me and I am running late, or Dr. Jeff needs to prepare to my appointment, needs to know something, whether instead of sitting there and interviewing me, he would have a snapshot of entire situation on what I am, because I'll be able to talk to my phone and submit it to him prior to my appointment. So
Amazing.
we're not competing with them. We're actually going to deep into all of those successful models for the knowledges, for the laws, for the outcomes, for the libraries. I mean, we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
But we are not
Amazing.
going. I don't want to create an illusion that we're a wrapper around anybody. No, we have our own model. It's called India. It's learning about you and all that. But we do recognize those massive models, and they might have certain things that are done better than we could ever do. And we will be using them and making them available through one little user experience. You wouldn't even know what's going on.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. I want to move over a little bit to the Wefunder and just fundraising in general. So the reason we're talking today is I found you over on Wefunder, and I thought this would be an interesting conversation
Yeah,
just
yeah.
by what I saw.
Thank
So
you.
I'd love to kind of talk about what was the concept? Why go to crowdfunding for this? What's the fundraising goals that you're trying to hit, and just what does it look like right now for raising capital?
Look, Jeff, here's what happened. We self-funded it. We bootstrapped it. We self-funded it. We are all grown ups. Well, no offense. Every founder is God's chosen person, and it's a crazy world, and the journey and whatnot. We are self-funded. We self-funded the company, self-funded whatever. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have businesses that work for me now. I've started different data collection companies and other things and whatnot. Then everybody on the team are very well off. Everybody's doing this because we know, we believe, and all that. So along the way, we obviously formed the entity. We needed to sort of look into whatever funding and whatnot. So effort into presenting this to potential capital partners resulted in a conversation that gave me an idea. So why don't we create a Wefunder or a crowdfunding campaign, the start engine, whatever, anything. We did Wefunder actually eventually ended up there, and maybe offer $100 investment in our Careverse, just $100, which is intended to, let's say we're raising 5 million. So let's say we went after 50,000 people, 40,000 people, and they threw in $100 each. So at the end, we got ourselves 40,000 loyal, most unimaginably attached users, because every one of them not only going to wish us well because their money working, little money, but listen, when it comes to care and we get deprived and we don't have access to it and whatnot, we're equally screwed. It doesn't matter. You're a billionaire, you're paying too much for it, or you're a poor guy and you have to dial 911 because otherwise you can't see doctors. This is equally murky place for everybody
Hmm.
and whatnot. And so if those people, when we are successful in collecting that 100,000 or 10,000, 20, 30,000 people, we will move them over to the platform. They will receive certain perks and obviously endless participation in the project. And for us, the starting point of a loyal audience like that will be incentivized to refer to others and more is fascinating and great. And this is go to market strategy, part of it. And again, do we not have conversations with institutions and family offices and what? Yeah, of course we do. We had 4 of them today. So, but do we want to continue with Wefunder and get that? Yes, it's a little money. Well, it's a little, 5 million is 5 million, but it also is, in a way, is an audience builder, is a loyalty builder and whatnot. This is it. This is the idea.
So with so many different front doors for what you're working on, how do you make sure that you don't make yourself too thin or don't focus on the right thing? How do you just make sure that you stay up to speed onto all these different verticals that you were talking about right now?
That's why your previous question was not for the Wefunder, but the one before about the competition. We don't. We just an orchestration layer. So if somebody is very good at medical records, we will work with them. We're never going to do what behemoths or huge companies that we will integrate. Our job is to make sure
Hmm.
it's all in one place. And our focus is, if you look at what we did or we were doing, it's pretty focused. It's not all over the place. It's you going in, interacting with the system that is as humanly and as nicely, as friendly, and is designed to support you as possible. And then at the same time, if it doesn't do certain things, they're incapable of certain workflows, the prioritizations or validations or challenges, it goes out to the integration partners and pulls that on your behalf. Right now, you get a medical bill, you call. I called Blue Cross Blue Shield on behalf of my family 1 week ago. Oh my God. It's another, you don't have time on this podcast for me for that. Yes, because they don't know, they need to call another department. They might mean well, the people that are on the phone, they're great people, but they're just not. The system is too big, designed for certain processes, and you don't have time. And a lot of people choose to throw it in the garbage and never pay the bill, or that never paying the bill ends up preventing you going again to the same provider. There's a lot of things there, but we're pretty focused. This is our focus. Our focus is for you to go in, find a care provider, make sure you have that. You have no fear going and calling, no fear that you forgot to say something. And if you forgot, you can go retrospectively and tell you don't even have to worry about your literacy. You just go and say, we will handle it and pass it on. And we'll make sure it's digestible, understandable, and all that. It's not been done before. It's a brand new cut and a brand new use of AI. Not the conversational AI. It's an actionable thing. It actually
Hmm.
does it for you.
That's great. How do you guys make money for the investors out there? How does Careverse make money?
Well, we will be going after traditional money making online. So our software will be available to people for free. And then we will actually use advanced models for advertisement, for suggestions, or we'll make money on apps, the integration to third party on behalf of provider. Right now, those things cost. So we'll have our developer discounts with them and obviously the resale of that. But initial base platform will be free for everyone, for product manufacturers, for we have a module that we built for provider for products. So for example, any product like any, I don't know, the chairs, the boots, the medications and whatnot. So that portal will have an ability for the manufacturers to advertise,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we will obviously do this in a super private fashion and non-intrusive. The biggest, the most important thing is that it's going to be thematic, right? It's going to be based on your territory of interest, not just the generic. While you're reading in news and somebody is showing you some just discussing stuff about healthcare that really your brain is not wired into. This thing will complement your activity and your previous mission and whatnot.
Gotcha.
That's the kind of stuff.
Very
We
cool.
also
Very cool.
partnered with the company that provides rideshare, one of two big names everybody knows about.
Okay.
Whenever there will be a problem and somebody needs to see somebody, that will be a click of the button, and the cost will be either carried by either party, either patient or the provider. But we believe that when it comes to personal care, a lot of providers will pick it up. In a sense of the primary care of healthcare, this is still kind of work to be done.
Sure. 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 What's the next big milestone that needs to happen for you guys to kind of get to the next phase? In the next phase, what's
We're planning
the
to go
milestone?
live with the entire platform MVP plus, meaning like not MVP, but MVP, where you can literally start using it. You can do kind of now too, but it'll be better this weekend and the next weekend. So by May 1, our goal is to have a flying prototype
Great.
available to
That's awesome.
everybody in the world. That's the big milestone. And we did an exercise 2 weeks ago, not this last weekend, but the week before. We did a bit of a social media exposure. And then the weekend, at the cost of about $130, we received about 11,000 signups.
Wow.
So
Great.
that milestone is to launch, make an announcement about it, and then start measuring of adoption.
That's great. That's
So
great.
that's a
Well, where
big
can
one.
people dive in? Yeah, if people want to learn more, want to dive in, kind of check out what you guys are working on, where should we send people?
There's a wefunder.com/Careverse.
Okay.
Our website is called careaccesspbc.org. Or my private invitation, please don't be upset if something doesn't work there. This is our internal stuff. But if you
Mhm.
go to careverse.ai and log in with your Gmail, I assure you will be impressed.
That's great.
You get the first cut preview to the big thing that's coming up.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It
Well, I
helps.
appreciate. Yeah.
Play with the buttons, whatever. If you have any issues, just some of them we know about, and some of that is purposely disabled. But send us an email, tell us, and we love user feedback. Everything will be great.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, Alex, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you're in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff. You're getting this launched and the Wefunder campaign. For all my listeners out there, you guys know I have the links in the show notes, so go check those out. Do what Alex said. Go jump on, click some buttons, figure out stuff. And but Alex, I think this is a really amazing concept, and I love what you're doing in terms of kind of bringing these worlds together and really giving people a true options for better healthcare. This is amazing.
Helps
So, Alex, good luck with the
help
campaign.
the world. It's already the biggest milestone. So that's the bottom
That's
line.
great.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
cool. Very cool stuff. Thank you so much for your time. Bye now.